Okay. I'm going to very quickly outline what the project is, and then I'm going to get to all the juicy stories. Basically, my name is Michael Kaywood. I've been directing this short film with a group of online collaborators for the last couple of years. And essentially it's a CD short, and there's usually at any given time, there's usually about 20 odd active users on the internet. And I can see that we've got about 3 team members here already in the audience. But we actually have, I think it's, I don't know, about 280 people signed up who are interested in the project. But let me skim through and show you, this is the teaser trailer that we've been working on. So as you can see, that's a work in progress. That's actually pretty much 100% animated now. And we're just sort of plowing through rendering, and we've got about 7 lighters currently working off Kurt's original lighting rig at the moment, trying to render out scenes for us. The film itself, you can watch the whole thing online in its animatic form, so in storyboards and all that kind of stuff. So, right. Essentially what I did back at the beginning of 2009 was build an online community, and we went from like 6 people emailing each other around a lot, and then we quickly realized that wasn't going to work very well, so we built our own social network, which looks a little bit like this. On any given day, it's a bit like the film's personal Facebook, and there's a stream of stuff that's going on throughout the day, conversations that are taking place, videos that are being put in, and all kinds of technical issues being resolved. So one of the first things I had to do was start attracting talent. So I started going on all the forums and posting threads, trying to get people interested in it, and it's quite tricky when you don't have much to show at first. So I guess it only really kicked off once we had an animatic, and there was one particular guy who put a lot of faith in this and started modeling, and as soon as we started having images to show, we kicked off pretty quickly. And what we realized was that one of the things you have to do is have a very visual online presence so that everybody can see what you're always doing, and they can see that there's constant progress. So this is why, I mean, you look at this is quite visual, it's constantly updating. There's new videos going down on the left all the time. Every 2 weeks, the 2 videos up in the top left corner get updated with new content, so everyone can see their work in context. And then down the stream you can see to within minutes of when everybody's posted something, so that everyone's got a constant idea of what's going on. And that builds up confidence in the project and attracts more talent. So one of the things, like I say, basically trying to make the process transparent to everyone. I essentially had to set up a social network and a forum system that provided as much depth as they required, the team members required, to communicate with each other, but at the same time showing all the good stuff to the front. So we actually have a few other things in support of this as well, like we have a Facebook page and a Twitter feed and things like that, which some people who are really interested in a project, and they will follow it directly from this website, but other people haven't got as much time to see every single little post. So for example, from a top-down perspective, you might go to sign up on the Facebook page, which will basically give you every new video when it turns up and every new image when it turns up, but none of the other chitter-chatter stuff. And then if you haven't even got that much time, you could just subscribe to the Twitter feed, which essentially was just me manually handpicking a few interesting things as they came up. And sometimes I wouldn't put anything out for days because it would just be a lot of technical conversations, and sometimes you'd get some really cool stuff and it would go straight out on the Twitter stream. One of the key things that I found was really, really important with this team was to ensure that if you're trying to make everything visual and you're trying to make sure that everybody knows what everybody else is doing, it was important that every member of the team took on as much of that burden as they possibly could. Because if it was entirely up to me to show the images and the videos, and if it was entirely up to me to report every single thing that was going on, the project would drown pretty quickly, because no single person can keep that much content going out there and direct it and work on it. So one key thing has been constantly encouraging everybody to do their little part. So sometimes people would email me directly, for example, with all these conversations, and I would say, well, please put them on the public forum, because that way everyone can see what's going on, and it builds faith in the project, and they can help you out as well. So one of the key things was just making sure that each team member knew to do their part, and so ironically that's one of the things I have to nag the most about. Okay, yes, what not to do. Everybody will have different problems with different short films and things, but essentially there's going to be a bunch of different things that you have to kind of choose your battles on and not do if you're going to have time to do the stuff that really matters. And I thought I'd just give you a little bit of a list of some of the stuff that I came across that were personal to this project. So for example, I'm not a great dialogue writer, and I tried. I spent quite some time, and I tried to collaborate with some writers to see if I could come up with a good script. And I really wanted to do something with dialogue, but at the end of the day, it was too early in the stage to attract a good writer, and I'm not a great dialogue writer. So I went back to my strengths and focused on the animation, and in many ways this makes it a more challenging piece to animate, because we have to get all of what's going on in their heads across in the mime of the characters. Another big issue that I faced early on was public versus secret, and this is just, when you talk to another writer or a story maker, a lot of the time they will tell you, don't put it out on the internet, someone's going to steal your idea. But I know an awful lot of people who are in the business of making short films, and people who have got a dozen pitches that have never had the opportunity to show anybody anything, and 10 years later in their careers they still hadn't shown anybody anything, or if they had, it hadn't taken off, and nobody knew what they were capable of beyond that. So I made the decision early on to go completely public, knowing that yes, the idea could get stolen, but it was the implementation of the idea and my enthusiasm to get it made and my skill to get it made that was going to count. And at the end of the day, if somebody comes and rips off the movie now, they're not going to look very good, because we've been out on the internet very publicly doing this for a couple of years now. But if they did, it would still be different, so it really doesn't matter. So what this project became all about was giving everybody the opportunity to do something cool for their own portfolio and put it out into the world straight away. And one of the benefits of this has been that somebody can come onto the project, and unlike any other short film, they can use it immediately. So it's a really good thing to do in between, say, some paid freelance work where that might not be shown to the rest of the world. And we've had a lot of animators approaching us because it means that they can just come along, pick a shot, and even as they're doing it, they could put it on their reel straight away if they wanted to, because we're not going to have any qualms about it. And we encourage them to tell the world about it as they do it. So it's like the exact opposite of most projects that they work on, and they get showreel material pretty quickly. Next issue was that I'm not a modeler or a texture artist, so I quickly decided that I needed to find a way to make my film as light on assets as possible. So building sets wasn't really going to be achievable for me, and I really wanted to keep it focused on the characters. So I quickly said, right, well, I'm not going to build any sets, and this helped push me in the direction of a heavenly setting, which is really just a sky dome and the clouds, and I just gave them something to sit on, something to look at, and put the characters in there. And in fact, one of the things, the next thing is that at the time I really wanted to focus on facial performances, hands and faces, and less of the physical stuff. So I kind of said to myself, okay, well, what's one of the ways I can cut back on the work? And I decided to not give any of the characters legs. In some ways, you could say that the amount of work that we've put into making the tails work is even more work than if we'd done it with legs in hindsight. But the other benefit was that all the characters look really unique. So we have a character who's got a flame for a tail, another one who's just the dress tapers off, and the other one which is going to act, you can't see much of it yet. There's some test renders on the website, but it's basically going to be a little puff of cloud for his tail. And these things all have to move around dynamically and ironically take a lot of rendering time. Another thing that I wasn't interested in doing was detailed textures. I have no interest in photorealism, so I said, like, essentially this is going to be something pretty cartoony but still CG. So when we were actually doing the shaders and textures for the characters, we were mostly focused on flat but good-looking colors. Believe it or not, I was trying to make this into a musical at one point. I spent most of 2009 pushing that and trying to find collaborators in the music world to make that work. And I made a lot of interesting contacts and found some really good people to do music, and ultimately I came to the end of 2009 admitting that I had to give up on the idea of it being a musical in order to have it plow ahead as it was. So instead of us trying to write a musical over the top of what we already had, we put in voices which they don't speak so much as they just make kind of noises, sort of thing. And that actually helped the animators a lot because it gave the animators something to work to. They sort of knew the mood of the character before the scene started because they had him going or something like that. Next one, and I know this is on the page of what not to do, but I just wanted to point out that when it comes to funding, it's not a small thing. It takes an awful lot of work to put in to try and find decent funding for your film. And so I think in some ways I underestimated how much work it was going to be to attempt to do the funding. So this picture here is just an example of some of the paperwork that we had to put together to do the funding. Some of the tricky issues that came up was that the percentage complete can actually go backwards because some things can get broken or a scene needs to be started all over again. So one of the things we were finding was that you can say it's 50% complete today, but then tomorrow it might be 49% complete because you had to start again on another scene. One of the really hard things to do is unassigning team members, and it's one of the toughest things that I've had to handle. And essentially it's just something that if you go into it, you've got to be aware of the fact that you're going to have to deal with some personalities or some people that would flake out, and somewhere along the line you have to make it a rule for yourself about when to stop somebody working in the task and reassign it to somebody else. Anyway, I think we're running out of time, so I'm going to rush to this video, which is some of the teammates that couldn't be here with us today because they're from other parts of the world.
Hi, my name is Justin Barrett. What am I doing?
Hi everyone, my name is Mohammed Saadi.
Hello, my name is Iskander Kahamelak and I'm a TD on the film Devils, Angels and Dating.
Hi guys, I'm Brian Tan.
Hi, my name is Marcus Lee.
We are the animators for Devils, Angels and Dating.com.
I am a character animator on Devils, Angels and Dating.
I am the voice of the Devil and Cupid.
The film has greatly increased my capabilities with scripting.
Working on Devils, Angels and Dating, it helped me to improve my skills as animator through mic, video critiques.
My work on this project would be a good addition to the character side of my voiceover portfolio.
Tool development and FX and particle animation.
And also learning from other team members working on the film.
Devils, Angels and Dating.
Devils, Angels and Dating.
Devils, Angels and Dating.
Devils, Angels and Dating is a CG short film
developed by an online community of artists.
Go to devilsangelsanddating.com to find out more.
Thank you.
And that's it. That's all the time ago. Thank you.
Never been my home.